Welcome to the Karyn and Alexa Show. I'm psychic medium Karyn and Alexa with Alexa Zappia. So we have a very interesting day ahead of us.
We do. So many people write in on your social media, questions on Instagram, whatever, maybe sometimes even call the office. And one of the things that has been coming up a lot is about energy clearance. And people, I think they have these like falsehoods about energy clearance, how to get rid of it, things like that. So I decided to kind of type them up and kind of do a true and false. So I started getting, these are actual questions or statements from clients. Saging a space will allow the spirits to leave through the window. True or false?
Okay, that's a falsity. And that's one thing that's a pet peeve, because so many people think that if they sage, you're going to have like a, say you have a naughty spirit at your house or something demonic. It's almost like they think that once, the thought is a spirit will notice the smoke and follow the smoke outside the window. But here's the problem. If a spirit, whatever type of spirit, good, bad, or indifferent, has enough sense to create havoc or to try to get your attention, do you really think that they're going to suddenly be like mesmerized and catatonic? No. All sage does is, for people like me, a sensitive, that's why we're called sensitives, is that I get a sinus headache or a migraine.
The use of holy water will help to eliminate all unwanted spirits. True or false?
Now that is a very interesting one. In that particular instance, everything has a vibrational quality. And because you have holy water, whether you get it from your rabbi or your priest or wherever you're getting your holy water from, that has the intention of God's energy. So if you have something that's negative, negativity is not going to want to be around something positive. So it's definitely something that you can use, something I use when I do some sort of cleansing, whether it's demonic or just something, might be somebody nasty.
Number 3, if you're watching TV and it's about something negative, you can attract a negative energy into your house. True or false?
I love that question. People ask me that. If you're watching something like demonology or something, along that lines, are you going to bring that in? No. You're not. If you really have an interest and you want to see how it works, it's one thing, but it's all about the intention. If on the other hand you watch the show and you're inspired to say, well, let me test it and see if I can, put it out to the spirit world that I want to bring something negative in, like attracts like. So if you put that thought out, you're going to bring that thought back in.
If you go into a haunted place, you can bring that spirit home with you.
Yes, that is true. So if you go there, it's always wise to say a prayer, something to the effect, I surround myself with God's white light before you go, as well as on the way back.
Ouija boards are very harmful and you should stay away.
Not necessarily. Ouija boards are part of a class of talking boards, and there's a myriad of different talking boards. You have angel boards, and so on and so forth. It's all how you set it up. So if you set up with the intention of going in and looking for something negative, you want to test the spirit, you think this is some kind of game, well, you'll find out that it may not be a game. And that's where the problem comes. Too many people go in and they poke around. Oh, if there's really something on the other side, let's just see. And you may attract something, benign. On the other hand, you may attract something negative, and that's typically why people have problems. Otherwise, sometimes people actually use it for deliberate demonic intentions. So it's not really the board, it's not the tool, it's how you set it up.
Well, thank you. Hopefully that helped those who call the office and ask these questions.
Those are great questions.
We'll be back for more from the Karyn and Alexa Show. Welcome back to the Karyn and Alexa Show. We are so excited to have our next guest with us, Dina Slawson and Lauren Baker for the Academy of Theater Arts, ATA, right here in Buffalo, made a national, they're nationally known, and we have them here, and it's just such an amazing experience to have you guys with us. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us. We love being here with you.
Thank you. So for children who are struggling maybe academically or personally, how do you feel like ATA helps those children reach their full potential?
Yeah, I think very baseline, we work with children on public speaking, and we work with memorizing and different things like that that are very transferable to academic skills or skills that they need as adults. Memorizing lines helps prepare students to memorize things for an exam, or as an adult when you need to memorize things for an important meeting. Same thing with public speaking. Being able to get up in front of a class and give a presentation, or as an adult, being able to get up in front of your colleagues and give a presentation. We teach those very baseline things, but deeper and more intuitively, we really give these students a sense of who they are and what their potential is. And I think personally, I can speak to that because I have gone through that. I did not have a great high school experience. I was bullied in high school, and ATA was my safe place. It was my place to escape all of that was going on in my, 7 to 2 school day. And then I was able to escape to this place and realize that I had potential beyond what these other students were saying and doing to me in that setting. And I hope that I can inspire that within our students to realize that there's so much beyond what high school is and what sometimes you can be pigeonholed into, and you can overcome that and you can become so much more than that. And if you have the drive and the passion and the backing behind you to push through that, then you're able to do that. So we really work very hard at ATA to provide our students with that backing and that support, that if you want this and you want to do it, whether it's going into theater or getting into college or even just getting through the next day, we are here for you and we're going to support you through all of that. And, we build these relationships with these students far beyond just being cast in a show. And we say this over and over and over again, ATA is a family. It's so much more than you are cast in X show as Y character, because we truly care about who you are and we want to build and help you form the human that you are going to be in this society. And I think nowadays we need that more than ever. When I was in high school, social media was in its infancy, so I didn't experience what these students are going through now. And we've talked about this a ton. If what had happened to me happened in 2021, I think it would have been far more severe. And, I empathize and I want to support these students as they go through these trying times of seeing things online or hearing things in school and pushing through that and becoming the best adults that they can be, because it does get better. There is another side past that, and you can become this incredible human. You just have to believe in yourself and you just have to push through that. And I was lucky enough to have that support at ATA, and I want to provide that to every single student that crosses my path.
Oh, that's such a good point that you
It
make.
is.
Well, here's a question for you, Dina. What do you do if a person is dead set on being in the business as an actor or actress, but you know that their talent really is better suited for another discipline? How do you handle that sticky situation?
With a lot of honesty, a lot of love, and a lot of understanding. It happened to my own child. My son, my youngest son, Lauren always knew that she wanted to somehow have theater in her life, but she always wanted to be a teacher. So for her, the transition was easy. She wanted to go into college and go into education and theater. So she was on the creative side that I was on. My youngest son wanted to go into musical theater. And when he was starting to decide on colleges, he sat down and told me, and he was great, amazing on stage. I loved watching him perform. But I knew that road that was going to be ahead of him. And I also knew what he was going to be up against. And I just felt that he didn't have the voice, to be honest with you. He just didn't have what I knew these people who he was going to be up against had. And we had a very frank talk and we both cried. But he went into journalism and is doing extremely well. I've had other students who have desperately wanted to go into musical theater, and when I've sat down and talked to them and asked them some very pointed, candid questions, and they really weren't able to answer those questions with the kind of passion and vehement emotion that I feel somebody who's going into this industry needs to have. I basically, you just ask them to sit back and think about, what is it going to be like for them? Because 99% of being an artist is rejection. 1% is getting that show. 1% is getting that gig. 1% is being asked to be in that project. The other 99% is going into a room and thinking you've got it and then finding out you don't. Or getting down to the last 3 people and being the third person that's going to not be a part of that specific project. So it's hard, but I will tell you that more importantly than that is the fact that 95% of our students use theater as a platform for other professions and other roads that they travel down. And they are more successful in what they choose to do because they've had that theatrical background than they would have been if they had not had it. So I feel like at ATA, that's what we focus on. If you want your child to be a Broadway star, if you want your child to be the next Annie, if you want your child to be on Disney, ATA is not the place for you. If you want your child to foster a love of theater, if you want your child to finally have a place where they can live out their passion each and every day, if you want a child that is going to go into their adulthood with life skills that they would not have had otherwise, then ATA is the perfect place for you. And that's the platform that we really try to follow.
Great answer. Great answer. So along those same lines, Dina, do you believe that like anyone can act and you just need to be trained, or really those who are naturally gifted just rise to the top naturally?
That's kind of a 2-pronged question, honestly, because I know people who are insanely talented, but are also insanely selfish and insanely lazy. So they are not going to rise to the top because nobody's going to want to work with them. And at some point, they're going to burn out. It is an incredibly competitive industry. It is a cutthroat industry, and you have to constantly be at the top of your game. You have to constantly be training. You have to constantly try and be better at your craft. You can never take a step back. The minute you think you are good enough or too good is the minute you fall. That's when you start tumbling. I have had other people who may not be as talented on a natural level, but they are so driven and they work so hard and they are so passionate about what they're doing. They are the ones that are going to take that next step. So it's all about the drive. It's all about the determination. It's really so much of it is about the passion and how hard you want to work.
So Lauren, if people want to get a hold of you and your company, where can they find all that information?
Sure, they can find us at www.academyoftheaterarts.com, or they can find us on Instagram at Academy of Theater Arts, or on Facebook at ATA Theater. And we offer full year programs, September to May, summer camps, spring break camps, the whole year we offer opportunities for our students. So
love it. What incredible information. I love it.
Dina and Lauren, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
You guys on. Thank you. So we have a very lucky winner today with us who wrote in via Instagram. Cody, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hello. Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Karen, take it away.
Well, we got a lot of people coming in. I do have a younger male coming in, and he is connecting to the name Aaron, Jaron, Darren, something along those lines, just as an FYI. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah, pretty much.
This person is connected to that person, just as an FYI. So you may want to get a connection with this Jaron, Darren, Aaron connection. Are you close to this person? Do you see him a lot?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
Okay, yeah, because I just want to let you know this. And by the way, I got a grandfather coming in from behind as well. And he's telling me that he's very proud of you. And he said, you've got great things ahead of you, just so you know. What's up with the driving? Do you not like to drive? Or grandpa says basically you suck. Would you like to clarify?
I mean, it's funny as I was, I'm in a hotel room in Vegas, and I drove here, and I drove my friends here, and I was thinking on our way over here, I was like, I should probably come to terms with the fact and kind of own up to that. I'm not the best driver in the world.
Yeah.
You just got called out by
Your
Spirit
grandpa,
on that.
Yeah. He was
Just-
laughing at that. Yeah, he says it's true, by the way, just so you know. Who's got a March or April birthday around you, or who's got that? Usually the birthday, is this one of your parents' passings or anniversaries? Usually it's somebody you're close to. I'm looking at
In April?
spring. Yeah, like March, April, right around there.
My sister's birthday's in March, but April.
Thank you. Happy birthday. Yep. I said March, but I always put him 2 months. Yeah, your grandfather said close to you. Yep. Yep. This is adorable.
It could be my grandpa's birthday. I don't know.
It's your sister. It's like right next to you. Yeah. And she's a better driver than you. Grandpa said to tell you, but that's all good though, just so you know.
Well, that's funny you mentioned that too, because she was and she's a great driver, and I very much trust her with my life when I'm in the car. But it's funny you say that, because when I was in high school, we got in like a really bad car accident, and it was because she was driving. But I still trust her magnificently. Like I still think she's a better driver than I am.
And so did your grandpa. He's laughing about that. He thinks it's hilarious, just so you know. There's somebody named Katie or Catherine. Catherine. Who's that? The grandma.
Yeah.
That's your grandma. Who's that?
So
Connection.
so there's Katie. Katie is my like best friend.
Friend,
Like,
yeah.
she's
There's
my
your
person.
sister. Yep.
She's my person. We grew up together. We were in 6th grade is when we met, and she's still been like my best friend since then. And then Catherine, actually, that's my grandma's name.
That's what you just said. Is that your grandma?
Yeah, Kathy. Yeah. So I was like, it could be either one of those.
Yeah, 'cause your
My sister's middle name is Catherine also. So
Yeah. Well, it's funny because your grandfather said both of them, and he said close, almost like a sister. So your friend Katie and you, it explains multiple lifetimes the two of you have been together. So that explains that connection. And then Grandma Catherine, whom I'm assuming is still living, correct?
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
he said she's here. She's a lot of fun, and she definitely thinks the world of her grandchildren, especially you. And it looks like when the two of you get together, you can get into trouble together, you and Grandma, when you get going and you start talking, because Grandpa listens in on your conversations. That's true.
I wouldn't say she's a troublemaker, but she's definitely
Her own woman.
And so in recent years, like her memory is kind of starting to go. But I think because of that, she has way less of a filter. And sometimes she'll say stuff and I'll just like look at her, I'm like, Nana. I'm like, I've never heard you say such a thing or comment on such a thing, or
Your grandfather's laughing about it. He goes, I hear it too all the time too. Yeah. The two of you, he's laughing about that. I just want to back up too with your friend Katie, because I go back about 600 years ago. And actually I saw you around the French Revolution, which was obviously only just a few hundred years ago. So I see quite a few lifetimes with you and Katie. And then I go way, 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 way back, probably about 3,000 years ago, early Europeans. So you've had multiple lifetimes. It makes sense into this lifetime where the two of you are together.
Yeah.
And you'll be like that till the day you die.
I hope so. She's like I said, she's my best friend. She's my person, is just like what I call her. I'm like, you're my
Go-to.
I called her like 2 weeks ago. It was Labor Day weekend. It was like 1:30 a.m. Like, she's a teacher. She's in bed. She's
teaching around her. Yeah.
And I called her at 1:30 because I was like emotional about something, like walking home drunk from the bar. And she answered, and I was so surprised. I was like, she goes, "What's wrong?" And I go, I didn't expect you to answer. I didn't even tell you. Like, I'm like crying. I'm like, have a good night.
Do you have a friend that has a record company? Or are you connected with a person that is involved in the music industry and
Yeah, yeah,
a good
yeah.
friend, solid friend? Yes.
What was that?
A good solid friend, I see. Yes.
Yeah. We're good
Yeah.
friends. Yeah.
The name James comes up too. That name comes up all around you. Do you know who James is that Grandpa's talking about?
James is just a name that's in my family a lot. So,
Oh.
so I've been trying to figure out like, oh God, actually, it could be either one because like so I only have one grandpa like that I've known my entire life and he's still alive.
Everyone clearly knows all about you, even though he's on the other side. Make no bones about it, because he's giving me this information, Cody.
I know. So I'm like, okay, she's either talking about my dad's dad, who's named James. It's my middle name. It's named after. And then my grandpa who's alive, his first name is James. That's also why my middle name is James. So I was like thinking this whole time too, I'm like, is she talking about like my great grandfather? But if it's James, then it's probably my dad's dad.
It's your dad's dad, because I got his side, and both sides are coming in and talking quite loudly. He's a great guy too. Does he like to fish at all, or did he ever fish at all?
I don't know.
Your grandfather's- Go
he
ahead.
passed away when my dad was like 16, so I never met him.
Okay, so wait, James is your dad, the grandpa that passed
My
away.
dad's dad. Mhm.
No, that's what I'm talking to then, yeah. Because he's
Okay.
talking about fishing or something along that lines. And we were talking about your other grandpa. I'm like, hang on, because that's how you know your grandpa's really here. See, his eyes are on you, Cody.
Well, how nice.
Yeah, and he's the one that also busted you about your driving too. Clearly, we know all about that. I do see in the future having your own like little store on the side, like a little retail store of sorts, and it may be like artsy, it might be retro. It's very cool. You'll make some good money on that. Yeah, that's something you'll do down the road with your partner. And I definitely keep seeing marriage. And your grandpa's very proud of you. Papa James said, tell everybody I'm doing really well and let them know that even though I haven't been in the living, he said, I see exactly what's going on. He goes, and boy, I gotta be honest with you, Cody, what a great job you're doing. And he's having a good time in Vegas with you, so he's haunting you. Yeah. And then the Jaron connection, this kid behind you connects in with this Jaron. Your connection, are you like good friends? This Jaron?
Yeah. Yeah. He's got, like I mentioned, I told you I called my friend Katie drunk the other weekend and I was emotional, and it was because I was emotional about him, about Jaron, the guy I have very strong feelings for, but
James says, forget about him. He says, he's a great guy.
Thank you, Grandpa.
Yeah, you could do better. And honestly, like you got some really great friends. You're close. And the guys that you're out and, your friends that you're having fun with, you know what? They're great people.
They
Yeah.
are. They
Yeah.
are. I do very much so brag about that I have the best friends in the world.
You
Like,
really, really do. And your grandpa James says, forget about this, Jaron, who needs Jaron? He says, you got bigger fish to fry, no pun intended. And honestly, when you get ready to get married, you're going to feel that right away. You're going to be like, you're going to know.
yeah.
So you got great days ahead of you. I do see a nice hot guy with dark hair coming up around you too.
Ooh.
We love hot guys, and we certainly love dark
We
hair.
love hot guys. It's a group consensus. He's got cute buns, I'll have you know, and he's very good at dancing. He's probably about 5'9", 5'10" thin. Really,
Cool.
just a cool guy. Like he's got slender jeans, like totally hot. He could be your
Perfect.
boyfriend right now, so don't worry about it. Yeah,
Okay,
great
perfect.
things ahead of you.
Thank
About the
God.
other one, yeah. I mean, he's a good guy. He's just not the right guy. There's enough people out there.
And
And-
yes.
And James,
That's right.
yeah, and Grandpa says, I see what goes on. He goes, oh, no. He says, you should be playing the field anyways at your age. When you get to be an old geezer like me, then you start to settle down. Just letting you know that.
You can't escape it.
Well,
Yeah.
You can't escape spirit. So if we learned anything today, folks, is that spirit's always there.
They are. They're
and in
always
your case,
around.
more ways than one, apparently. From
Exactly.
Last
From last night, apparently more ways than one, right?
night. Your grandpa loves you to pieces, he said.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Cody, so much for joining us today. And hopefully
Uh,
we gave you the peace and closure that you needed. Karen, thank you. And Spirit, thank you.
Thank you. God bless.
Guys.
Bye.
Yeah. Have a good rest of your day.
Bye. Welcome back to the Karyn and Alexa Show. As always, if you would like to connect with Karyn or hear from your departed loved ones or hear about your future, you may do so by visiting Karyn on her website at www.karynrreece.com, spelled KarynReece.com. You can also call our office phone at 716-580-2520. You can visit her on Facebook at Karyn Rreece Psychic Medium or on Twitter and on Instagram at Karyn Rreece. And she's actually now on TikTok at Karyn Rreece1 on TikTok, so the number 1, which is super exciting. And you can also email us at Karyn, Karyn, and the little @ KarynReece.com. Well, I love that you answered all these questions, because sometimes when I'm answering the phones and stuff, I don't really know a lot of those answers. But so when people come in, obviously I'm not in their reading. So what is a common question that people get when they're sitting with you in their reading?
People will say, "You were my dreams last night." And we all have out-of-body experiences, and sometimes people think, "Oh, is that how you extract information?" I said, well, that's one of the ways. There are other ways too, because your aura provides information. It gives me past, present, and future. That's the glow around your body. And sometimes people from the other side will give me insight into your world, whether it's past, present, or future. So it's kind of interesting where people, get some of their ideas from, or how they think how this really works, so.
They ask the expert, don't they? Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of The Karyn Rreece Show, and we'll be back next week for more.